4 games into the new season and we're hit with an international break. For many people, international football and the international break in itself offers 2 weeks of boredom, and they're just sitting there praying for their teams to come back and they can get back to club football. For others that support lower league teams or non-league teams like myself that actually want to get behind the England boys home and away, it offers the opportunity to get together with your mates and support some exciting new prospects coming through in the national team. Welcome back to the footboxx channel as we preview the Bulgaria and Kosovo games for England this upcoming week. So starting with the Bulgaria game on Saturday at Wembley. Now Bulgaria, 4th in the qualifying group as it stands, played 4, drawn 2, lost 2. Started off with a 1-1 draw at Montenegro, followed by a 1-1 draw away in Kosovo, a 2-1 defeat away in the Czech Republic, and then a home defeat 3-2 to Kosovo. As I say, 4th in the group, and Bulgaria aren't the team they used to be. They don't have the likes of some of the great players they've had over the years, Berbatov, Stoichkov, etc. They're not really offering much in this group so far, and this game on Saturday for me is one that England should look to win absolutely comfortably. And England, of course, with the UEFA Nations League this summer, which ended a little bit disappointingly, have only played 2 qualifiers. Obviously, they have played 2 and 1-2, 5-0 at home against the Czech Republic in March, followed by an away win in Montenegro, 5-1. Now, this game really should be an opportunity for this England team to express themselves again and get a comfortable victory. After a disappointing Nations League in the summer, some of the inexperienced players that were involved in that tournament, again, this would be an opportunity for them to start these games, and they've been playing a little bit more for their clubs and starting games for their clubs. Now they come into the England fold, and this England team and this England squad has a lot of players that are on lower caps, haven't played a lot of international football, but as I say, now they're getting more starts for their clubs. That hopefully will transcend into this Club England field that Southgate's working on, and these younger players will get more of an opportunity to start and can gain experience before next summer's European Championships, which England obviously should qualify for. So looking at the squad, some of the inclusions, I've just made a few points on. So people that I think are worth another look, I've just put down. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Oxlade-Chamberlain. He hasn't been starting a lot for obvious reasons at Liverpool. He come back from a long-term injury, and the squad that Liverpool have assembled and the starters that have embedded themselves in that Liverpool team off the back of success in the Premier League and winning the Champions League, it's going to be difficult for him to actually start games. However, when he's played for England before, and before his injury, I also thought Oxlade-Chamberlain did quite well, and he was an exciting player. And he is a talent. He might not be a world-class talent, and he might not be starting every game, but I do think Oxlade-Chamberlain's worth another look, and he can be that game-changing player for 20-25 minutes off the bench. So, I'm glad to see him back in the squad. One player that's, definitely worth a look based on what he's shown so far this season, Mason Mount. Obviously at Chelsea, he's been given the opportunity by Frank Lampard. Maybe it had something to do with the transfer embargo as well, but he's taken the opportunity, and with the departure of Eden Hazard in the summer, it's nice to see a young Englishman being given the opportunity to play in that 10 role. And he has, got a couple of goals, and he's exciting the crowd down at Chelsea. Can he transcend that over to the England squad now? Will he be starting either of these 2 games? I'll go on to my team predictions, or the teams I would play certainly in these 2 games in a minute. But will he be starting Mason Mount? Probably not. Will he get some time off the bench? I'd like to think so. Otherwise, there's no point in putting in the senior squad. But Mason Mount, again, worth a look, showing a lot of promise. There is a couple of people in the squad. Again, Jesse Lingard, he always seems to be the scapegoat at the moment, but he does all right for England. He's been sort of that 4-year cycle with Dele Alli, which I'll go on to in a minute as well. But he doesn't do too badly for England. He doesn't do enough in terms of his Manchester United record, in terms of goal scoring and things like that for a player of his age. He's 27 now, I believe. He can do a bit more, but again, deserves to be in the England team based on what he's offered this set and this group of players in previous experience. One person I would have liked to have seen in the squad, I do think we had too many defensive options, so we could have probably squeezed him in rather than having initially 3 right backs before the injury to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Maybe we could have taken an extra striker, because he has been scoring some goals for Chelsea, and Tammy Abrahams. It's worth a look at. Nigeria FA are sniffing around trying to get him to pledge his allegiance to the Super Eagles, but he's sniffing around and he's been in some squads for the Three Lions at lower age groups. I believe Tammy Abrahams is someone that England do need to look at sooner rather than later, because there is a threat of losing him to Nigeria. And if he continues his goal scoring vein in the Premier League, who knows where that part of his career will take him, and is that a player England want to miss out for on international duty? When you've got the system that we play and you've got Harry Kane as your main striker, is Tammy Abrahams going to be able to threaten Harry Kane for that position, especially as captain of his country? Potentially no. However, again, it's a different option, and there are players that we need to look at, one of which is Callum Wilson, not scoring many goals in the league so far this season, but he scored for England on his debut. He did score, apart from VAR in the Nations League, and he showed some promise when he's been given some minutes. Again, that's someone that deserves another look based on what he's done in the past. So that's my thoughts on the squad. The usual suspects are in there, and this core set of players that Southgate works with that, the fans are really getting behind. And when you go to England games, there is that sense of Club England and that bond between the fans, the manager and the players, that wants to make you go and that wants to make you spend the money home and away and go and follow the England team. So I'm pleased that, the familiar suspects are back, with a few injuries and exceptions, but it shows some promise going forward into these games. So the game on Saturday in itself, this is going to be the team that I would choose to play against Bulgaria. So we'll start off in goal. Jordan Pickford speaks for itself. I think he's the main man for England for a number of years coming forward. Great on the ball, and he just works in the system that Southgate wants to play, playing out from the back. It'd be interesting to see if England do anything with a new goal kick rule and try and play even more from out the back. But Pickford, for me, he does work in this system, and he's been part of trying to change the way that we play. And off the back of his World Cup performance, he's a bit of a fan's favourite, bit of a cult hero in the Nations League, coming there and taking a kick in a penalty shootout against Switzerland, and then saving one himself to win it. So Pickford gets his chance in goal. Pope and Heaton sniffing around him. Heaton obviously went to Villa to maintain his number one spot, which gave Pope the chance. And despite some of the results, I think Pope's actually shown some promise early season at Burnley, and Heaton is a good goalkeeper to have in reserve. The exception of Jack Butland, yes, he's playing the Championship and he's not in form, so I have no problems with that. So for me, Jordan Pickford starts. Going on to right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka obviously injured. Kyle Walker exempted from the squad this time. Kieran Trippier started his career well in Spain so far with Atletico Madrid. However, for me, Trent Alexander-Arnold, probably one of the best right backs in Europe at the minute. He starts against Bulgaria. Hopefully he won't have much to do defensively, so can use his width going forward and that deadly cross, and hopefully he can get some assists in an England shirt, as he does time after time in a Liverpool shirt. Speaking of which, we're going to go with Gomez at right centre half, partnering Harry Maguire. Now, there is talk of that Keane might get given the opportunity, but I think when Gomez has stepped in, although he's been inexperienced in international football before, he's actually played really well. Croatia at Wembley in that crucial Nations League game in the autumn, I thought he played brilliantly, and he was an integral part of England that day, coming back into the game, stepping out from the back, confidently playing the ball into the midfield. Alongside him, Harry Maguire speaks for itself. He's probably one of the first names on Gareth Southgate's team sheet, probably the most popular player in an England shirt at the moment, and with his move to Manchester United is getting exposed to a higher level of football, and continues to progress. Left back, I think Southgate will start Danny Rose. However, for me as an England fan, hearing things like Danny Rose saying, it was really, sort of telling on the minds, hanging around in the England squad after the Champions League with all the Liverpool players, and it seems like it feels like it's a bit of a chore to play for England. For me, I wouldn't start him. He is a good player, but I'd give Ben Chilwell another opportunity. He was very poor in some of the Nations League games, but then others, especially Spain away, he played out of his skin. So he's got that in him, but then he has got a performance like he has against Croatia at Wembley in the 2-1 win, albeit he put the ball in for the winning goal. He was awful that day. But he's done enough to be warranted a chance. And again, in this team that is inexperienced and has less caps, give him an opportunity again, get those cap numbers up, give him that opportunity against some of the lesser nations to feel a bit more comfortable and a bit more confident in the England shirt. Again, he can get forward, he can offer a bit of width, he can make some overlaps to the two front men and get some crosses into the box. And he's defensively, he's pretty sound as well, and he plays well for Leicester. So moving into the midfield, against Bulgaria, I don't think you need to play two sitting midfielders. I'd like to think at home against the lesser team, Southgate would be a bit more expansive. So the midfield three that I would play, I'd put Henderson in the sitting position. Does it well for England. I've been a big critic of Jordan Henderson in years gone by. However, I do think he's probably the most improved footballer in the Premier League in the last 3 years. And he has made that position his own, not just for Liverpool, but in an England shirt. He was an unsung hero at the World Cup. And since then, in games where he hasn't started, we've missed him. Netherlands in the Nations League, for example, we missed him. The first half an hour in Podgorica, we missed him. He came on in the second half and I think he got 2 assists and changed the shape of the game for the last half an hour. He does well in the English shirt and he speaks for himself. Captains when Harry Kane's not around. And against Bulgaria, you're only going to need one sitter. Jordan Henderson's the man. I'm going to play Ross Barkley. Yes, he hasn't been starting every game at Chelsea and he's looked, albeit had a good pre-season, he looked a bit unconfident so far. I'm starting him based on his previous performances in the England shirt. I thought he was fantastic in Podgorica, probably England's best player on the night. And against lesser opposition, has that experience in an England shirt, can offer a pass, can get on the end and score a goal. But he offers a little bit different to Harry Winks. Harry Winks is a bit of a safer, surer bet. And we'll come on to the Kosovo squad selection in terms of Harry Winks in a second. But for the Bulgaria game, I'm going to start Henderson, Barkley, and I'm going to give James Maddison a start. James Maddison is a player, I think, who has done so much in a Leicester shirt and a Norwich shirt beforehand. And it is an exciting player. And I think with Lingard and Dele Alli being in this 4-year cycle so far in an England team, they've not really taken that position and said, that is mine. That number 10 position is mine. You can't take it from me. Dele Alli has been hit and miss. He's had his injury problems. Obviously, he's been exempt from this squad because of the injury problems. Jesse Lingard, yeah, he's done enough in an England shirt and he scored some goals. But again, he hasn't really taken that and said, I'm the number 10 for England. I would give Maddison the opportunity. He's got dead ball technique for free kicks, corners, whatever. And he offers a new, exciting option in the number 10 role. So for me, James Maddison, number 10. Starting up front with Sancho on the left, Sterling on the right. Sterling, great start to the season. Sancho continues to excite at Dortmund. And up front speaks for itself, Harry Kane. 40th cap on Saturday, 20 odd goals already, 1-2 ratio. And your captain in the country speaks for itself. Like to think he's going to get on the score sheet. So that's my lineup. Prediction for the Bulgaria game at home. Can't see Bulgaria causing too many problems. If England come out as they did against Czech Republic, professional, exciting performance on the front foot, passing out from the back, getting a bit of width with the two wing backs, overlapping runs, interchanging front three. Hopefully Kane doesn't drop too deep and he stays in the box, but I can see a couple of goals for Harry Kane, Sterling. I'd like to see someone like Maddison or Barkley get on the score sheet. So I'm going to go for a prediction of England 4, Bulgaria 0. Moving on to the Kosovo game at St Mary's on the Tuesday night. England moving away from Wembley on the road again. Last time they did that in Leicester, this time in Southampton. Kosovo, they're no mugs. So they won their Nations League group. They were unbeaten in doing so. Yes, it was against a few minnows, but they're a minnow themselves. But they are no mugs. They had a recent draw with Denmark. They're unbeaten so far in the qualifying group. Played 3, 1-1, drawn 2. Home 1-1 against Bulgaria. Away 1-1 in Montenegro, which is never an easy place to go. Then they went to Sofia and actually beat Bulgaria 3-2. They're no mugs. As I say, they're unbeaten. This will be a tougher game than Bulgaria. Some people won't think that. But I think Kosovo, albeit a newer force in the UEFA League and the UEFA Qualifiers, they're not something that you know too much about, and they're not something that being an unknown quantity is the threat in this one. But they will be a better footballing team than Bulgaria. They proved that by beating them. So my team to play Kosovo is going to be pretty similar. So we're going to go Pickford, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Harry Maguire, Chilwell, Henderson sitting there. I'm going to bring in Winks this time for Maddison. I think Maddison will hopefully get a start against Bulgaria, and if he does well, fair play, you might want to start him. But I think Kosovo, because they'll offer a little bit more threat, I think you want a little bit more of a safer ball player that defensively can offer a little bit more as well if Henderson needs the help. So I'm going to start Henderson, Winks and Ross Barkley. Again, Ross Barkley, I think, will start both games. Maybe even Southgate would start Oxlade-Chamberlain one of the games in that position like he has in the past. But for me, Henderson, Winks and Barkley, and I'm going to keep the same front three. And I think the Kosovo game won't be as much as a goal fest. I think they will come and they will try and frustrate, but at the same time they will try and play a little bit of football and offer a little bit of a different threat to Bulgaria. And I can't see it being a walkover. So my prediction for that game is going to be England 2, Kosovo 0. Hopefully we get back-to-back clean sheets. The reason for that is the seeding system for the European Championships next summer. With it being a predominantly home tournament for England, the seeding system is important, and winning all your games in your qualifiers, scoring a lot of goals, having a better goal difference, goals for, etc., and ultimately having an unbeaten record and qualifying unbeaten is going to give you more chance to be the top seeded team and get a more favourable group. Therefore, play your games all at Wembley at home, win your games and have a better opportunity in the last 16 quarterfinals. And these qualifiers, again, on paper, easy to win, but it gives this England team the opportunity to develop and further themselves and play some exciting football. That's what I want to see. I'll be going to both games. We'll be trying to do a little bit while we're at both games. Maybe even put something in a video up in between both games. But like, share, subscribe. For those of you that have been going along with the Fantasy Premier League that Kev's been doing, thanks for your time and your views on the videos. Hopefully you're not bored during the international break in this England team, along with the other international fixtures. Whoever you support can excite you. But thanks for listening.